Hi friends, welcome back to my math class. My name is Mrs. Kemper and I am a third grade math teacher at Harper Elementary. I am so excited to be with you today, but as you know, before I like to start the lesson, we need to move. So everybody stand up. It's time to get focused, so we got to get our wiggles out so we can get ready to learn. All right, stand and let's march. Now, if you do not have paper and pencil with you, please march and get it, and then come back and rejoin me, okay? All right, now, we're not gonna do a whole bunch of movement, but we're gonna do a little bit. And make sure you're taking nice breaths in and out. Let's move side to side, and let's swing our arms. Make sure you don't hit anything next to you. Wouldn't wanna break anything, no. And make sure you're smiling, because you're really gonna enjoy today's lesson on AM and PM. So we're going back to time. Okay. And let's go back to marching. Do you have your paper and pencil ready? Super. Okay, let's stop. Take some nice deep breaths in and out. All right, super. Today, we're going to be determining AM and PM. But before we do that, we have to remember the clock. You have to be able to tell time. So this is an analog clock. Now, some of you have an analog clock at home and others don't, and it's okay if you don't, because I'll show you how to figure AM and PM without the clock. But if you have one, great, use it and practice with it, okay? So I thought it would be fun to review telling time with a song. Now, as you're listening to this song, you're gonna wanna sing along and you're gonna wanna snap, but keep in mind you've got to pay attention. Okay, pay close attention to what they're saying. And I promise you're gonna love this song. And I'm gonna be over the side singing it too. So let's see if we can't get to come up.
Stretch out the hour hand, see where on the clock it lands. The last number it went by is the number 5. Stretch out the minute hand, see where on the clock it lands. Each line equals 1 minute, so the time is 5:06. Every number the hour hand goes by represents 1 hour at time. To count the minutes out of 60, and you'll be telling time with me. Stretch out the hour hand, see where on the clock it lands. 9's the last number it went by, so the hour hand points to 9. Stretch out the minute hand, see where on the clock it lands. It's pointing right at the 5, so the time is 9:25. Every number the hour hand goes by represents 1 hour at time. Then count the minutes out of 60, and you'll be telling time with me. Stretch out the hour hand, see where on the clock it lands. The hour hand lasts past the 8, so the hour of time is 8. Stretch out the minute hand, see where on the clock it lands. It points to 4 precisely, so the time is 8:20. Every number the hour hand goes by represents 1 hour at time. To count the minutes out of 60, and you'll be telling time with me. The hour hand is shorter always. It goes around the clock twice each day. First time round is AM. The second time it's called PM. AM starts at midnight's moon and continues until noon, so we call noon 12 PM, and it goes till 12 AM. Every number the hour hand goes by represents 1 hour at time. Then count the minutes out of 60, and you'll be telling time with me. We count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 minutes on each clock we see. We count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, 55, 60 minutes on each clock. clock we see. Every number the hour hand goes by represents 1 hour at time. Then count the minutes out of 60, and you'll be telling time with me. Visit numberrock.com for exclusive content, lesson material.
Was that not a catchy, catchy tune? I hope you enjoyed that. And that's on YouTube, so you can watch it anytime you want if you want to review Telling Time and learn that song. So now what we're going to do is, let's talk about our learning target first. Read it with me. I can determine if the time is AM or PM. So at the end of this lesson, you're going to know what AM and PM stand for, and you'll be able to determine if it is AM or PM. All right. So let's think for a moment. What are some things that we do in the morning, which would be AM? Well, I put a few up here. I'm sure you can come up with several more, but look at the ones I came up with. Eat breakfast. We eat breakfast in the morning, AM. Brush your teeth. We're going to talk a little bit more about that one, but yes, we do that in the morning. We go to school in the morning, and we complete morning work. You may come into your classroom and have work on your desk, and that's morning work that you have to complete. So we do that in the morning, which is AM. All right. Now let's go on. What are some things you do in the afternoon? PM. Okay, let's look. Eat dinner. Eat dinner in the afternoon or evening, which is PM. Complete homework. When you leave school and you go home, you complete your homework. Brush your teeth. We're going to talk about that one right there. Brush your teeth. We do that in the afternoon or the PM. And we go to bed in the evening, and that's PM. Now, let's look at this. Do we do some things in both AM and PM? Yes, absolutely. This first one I told you we were going to talk about, brush your teeth. We brush our teeth in the morning, and we brush our teeth again in the evening. Very important. Eat lunch. Some of you might eat lunch in the morning, for example, 11:30. Some of us might eat lunch in the afternoon, PM, for example, 12:30. Exercise. So important right now that you're exercising. We can exercise in the AM, and we can exercise in the PM. And I had to put this one up there, shop. We can shop in the morning, we can shop in the afternoon, we can shop in the evening. So we can shop in the AM or the PM, either way. So let's see. We're going to watch another video that goes into more depth of AM and PM. What does AM stand for? What does PM stand for? And how do we know if we're in the AM or the PM? So, as you're watching this, I want you to write down. I want you to write down what AM or PM stands for, okay? When you're watching this video, write down what AM and PM stand for, okay? Don't forget, listen closely.
If you live in the United States, Canada, or Australia, you use a 12-hour system for telling time. But why is AM and PM important? If you look at this clock, it reads 7 o'clock. However, is this 7 o'clock in the morning or 7 o'clock at night? This is where AM and PM help. The 12-hour system divides the 24 hours of a day into 2 periods, lasting 12 hours each. The first 12-hour period is designated as AM, and it runs from midnight to noon. The second period, marked PM, covers the 12 hours from noon to midnight. AM comes from the Latin phrase meaning ante meridiem, which translates to before midday, and PM from the Latin phrase post meridiem, which translates to past midday. There are 24 hours in a day, and this requires the hour hand to pass the 12 twice. You can see this on a timeline. You start at 12, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and then you go back to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then you're back at 12. Most often, midnight is considered the start of the day. Midnight is classified as 12 a.m. The hours after midnight and before noon are written as a.m. These 12 hours start late at night and then transition to early morning. 3 a.m. is late at night, but 7 a.m. is when many people are waking up. 12 p.m. is considered midday or noon. The hours between noon and midnight are written with p.m. These hours start during sunlight and end in darkness. Now let's apply what we've learned. Drew wakes up in order to go to school at 7 o'clock. Would you use a.m. or p.m.? Drew wakes up after midnight and before noon, so you would use a.m. Adam's favorite restaurants stop serving dinner at 8 o'clock. Would you use a.m. or p.m.? Dinner time is after midday or noon, but before midnight, so you would use p.m. And finally, the sun rises at 6 and sets at 7. Which would you use? The sun rises after midnight and before noon, so you would use 6 a.m. And then the sun sets after noon and before midnight, so you would use 7 p.m. If you'd like to know more about telling time, this playlist will help.
A little bit more
and as
about,
always, thanks for watching.
if I can get this to
and Moo Moo Math up.
pause. So let's talk just a little bit more about AM and PM, what they just discussed. Now, I did ask you to write down what AM and PM stood for, so let's go to that. So AM stood for before midday, and PM stands for after midday. So let's just talk about that just for a minute. So if I take my clock, and I'm going to make it 12 o'clock noon, 12 o'clock noon. Is that AM or PM if I say 12 o'clock noon? You're exactly right. It is PM. It is PM. And as the clock travels all the way around, and we have to get all the way back to 12, at this time, are we still AM or are we PM? No, you're right. We are still PM because this was noon and we haven't traveled all the way around. So we're going to continue traveling. And at this point, you think you might be in bed? Yeah, you might be asleep. But that's still PM. And now we've hit 12 o'clock AM. Now, when it's 12 o'clock AM, most of us are in bed sleeping. And if you look outside, is it dark or is it light? It's dark. And it's still dark by 3 o'clock, and that's AM. But let's think about it. You're sleeping, it's still AM, and you might get up at 7 o'clock, and that is AM. Okay? All right, so let's use what we've learned with some story problems. Okay, AM or PM? The band marched in a parade last night. Pick the correct time. Is it going to be 6:45 AM or 6:45 PM? Let's see. Is there a key word that could help you determine if it's AM or PM? Super. Yes, night. So night we know is PM. And so 6:45 p.m. would be the correct time. Super. Let's do another one. I brushed my teeth this morning. Picked the correct time. So 7:30 a.m. or 7:30 p.m. Brush my teeth. Now I can brush my teeth in the a.m. and the p.m. So you might say, well, both of those are right. Is there a key word? Yes, there is. If you picked morning, you are correct. Morning. So morning, we know, is AM. So I brushed my teeth this morning would be 7:30 AM. Good job. look at this one. AM or PM? I ate pizza for supper. Pick the correct time. 5:30 a.m. or 5:30 p.m.? Okay, well, normally if I eat pizza, I'll eat it in the evening. Supper, I know that is the same as dinner, so I know it's p.m., 5:30 p.m. AM or PM? My class said the Pledge of Allegiance this morning. Pick the correct time. 8:20 a.m. or 8:20 p.m.? Okay, so, is there a key word again? Yes, there is. Morning. And we know that morning means a.m. Very good. So, said the pledge at 8:20 a.m. You are doing a great job. Keep up the great work. AM or PM? Amy went to a birthday party this afternoon. Pick the correct time. 5:30 a.m. or 5:30 p.m.? Okay. Is there a key word? Yes, there is. Afternoon. So we know afternoon is p.m. Very good. So 5:30 p.m. You might also look at that and say, Mrs. Kemper, nobody's going to go to a birthday party at 5:30 a.m. But you never know. Never know. Let's go to our next one. Okay, now, I like this one because it's getting a little bit more challenging. Here we go. Sarah left her house at 11:30 a.m. It took her 4 hours to get to her friend's house. Did Sarah arrive in the a.m. or p.m.? So we have to think about this. She starts at 11:30, so this time I'm going to use my clock, and I'm going to find 11:30. So here's 11 o'clock, and 30 minutes later, 11:30. So there's 11:30. And it took her 4 hours to get to her friend's house. So I have to make 4 complete rotations because how many minutes are in an hour? Yes, very good, 60 minutes. So count with me as I make one full rotation. So 11:30 to 12:30, 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, so I gotta get to 4. 4 hours. So we know that Sarah arrived at her friend's house at 3:30, but is that what it's asking? No, it's not asking what time she arrived. It wants to know if it's a.m. or p.m. So, are we in the a.m.? Are we in the p.m.? Very good. We're in the p.m. Excellent. Because we passed noon. We started at 11:30 and we passed 12 o'clock. We passed noon. So we know that Sarah arrived in the p.m. Okay. Very good. Our next one. Let's read it together, okay? Taylor and Noah went hiking. They left at 9 a.m. and hiked for 3 hours. Did they end in the morning or afternoon? Notice, I used morning and afternoon. I didn't use a.m. or p.m. Remember how they go together. So let's think about how we can figure this one out. We can use our clock again, but if you don't have a clock at home, we can count up 9 and count up 3 hours. So let's do that together. 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3. So we counted up 3 hours. 9, 10, 11, 12. So they hiked for 3 hours. So that means they stopped hiking at 12 o'clock. Is that morning or afternoon? Good job. It's afternoon. It's p.m. because it's straight up noon. So they hiked for 3 hours and they stopped at noon. And remember, excuse me, This is what noon looks like. Okay, straight up 12 o'clock. Very good. Okay, let's look at our next one. I can get it to go. There we go. Allie and her friends went to the beach for, oh, read it with me. I keep forgetting to tell you to read with me. Allie and her friends went to the beach for vacation. They left Evansville at 5:30 a.m. It took them 8 hours to get there. Did they arrive in the a.m. or p.m.? Okay, so let's look at our clock. And we know that they left in the a.m. at 5:30. So I'm going to find 5:30 on my clock. And if you have trouble finding 5:30, then go straight up 5 o'clock and then just count 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and there you have 5 o'clock, and this is a.m. And it took them 8 hours. So how many times do we have to go around and stop? 8 times, because it's 8 hours. So it's 5:30. Our next stop is going to be 6:30. Very good. So count with me because we have to get 8 hours. So if I go all the way around, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, now we know they arrived at 1:30, but that's not what it's asking for. It's asking for a.m. or p.m. So did Allie and her friends arrive at the beach in the a.m. or p.m.? Very good. Yes, exactly. 1:30 would be p.m. because we passed noon. Good job. Good, good job. This next one, I'm going to read with you, and I want you then to do it on your own. And I'm going to show you another strategy to use with this in case you don't have a clock or you don't like counting forward. Okay? So let's read it together, and then let's see what you get. Okay? Jason and Luke worked hard, hard recording lessons. They started at 8 a.m. and worked for 7 hours. Did Jason and Luke finish recording in the a.m. or p.m.? Now think about it, all right? And you work on it. Okay, if you said p.m., you are correct. It is p.m. Now, I want to show you just a quick way that you could work this out, okay? If you didn't use a clock or you didn't count up, because you could have started 8 o'clock and counted up 7 hours. So let's do that one first. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. So there's our 7 hours, and we're at 3 o'clock. Does that show a.m. or p.m.? You already knew it. It showed p.m. because we passed noon, didn't we? Now another way you can do this is you can draw it out. And we did this strategy before. Some of you did it with me, and maybe some of you didn't. And it's fine if you didn't. I want to show it to you, though. So we started at 8 o'clock a.m. And we know we have to go 7 hours. So I'm going to write 7 hours here so that I can see that. And I have to get to the finish, okay? So let's start 8, and I'm going to go in intervals of 60 minutes because 60 minutes is 1 hour. So if I go plus 60, 8, then I have 9 o'clock. And if I do plus 60, I have 10 o'clock. And if I do plus 60, I have 11 o'clock. If I do plus 60, I have 12 o'clock. If I do plus 60, I have 1 o'clock. Oh, I'm going to stop and check to make sure I haven't gone over 7 hours. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, I'm right on there. Plus 60 is 2 o'clock. Plus 60 is 3. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I want this one in this box because that is the end. So we'll mark that out. So all I did was do 60 plus 60 plus 60. So it's 1 hour each time, just like how you did when you were counting up. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. That's what we did here. And if you can draw it out, you're showing your work. Plus, once you really get into elapsed time, this strategy is so easy to figure out elapsed time. So you were exactly correct. They finished in the PM, 3 o'clock, and I have got to write PM over here. So my answer is complete. Okay? All right, kiddos, you have done a super, super job today with AM and PM. I hope you have a better understanding of what AM and PM stand for. You might practice it. You might ask your parents, I know what time it is, but is it AM or PM? And see if they get it right. Today's secret word that I want you to share with your teacher, so I know if you watched this and I know who joined me, and you'll get credit for it, is tiger. Have a wonderful rest of the day.